Warm greetings, everyone. On behalf of Friday.Waters, an initiative of the W4W Foundation, a think tank built as Citizens Collective, we welcome you to today's session, Friday.Waters and Friday.Water Talkies especially. Friday.Waters is a continuation of our signature series, Wednesdays for Water. The idea of Friday.Waters is to bring water knowledge available in the various alternate forms at one place for developing a better understanding about water matters in different possible ways. The activities initiated in Friday.Waters include Water Talkies, which is today, Water Reading Club, Water Thesis Club, Water Arts, and Meet a Maestro. Each of these sessions takes place once a month, depending on the availability of our speakers. The Friday Water sessions are designed to be fun-filled and yet be fruitful. Do keep following us at www.w4w.in for regular updates on our conversations, as at W4W we strongly believe that water conversations are crucial to move towards water conservation. Now, coming to the Friday Water Talkies, the focus is on bringing the cast and crew of the movie or documentary or any video which is made on water matters to the session in order to discuss with them the making of the documentary film or the video and the issues around the subject covered. Besides bringing interest in water conversation, this will also increase the outreach of the idea and of the documentary or the film in not only water networks but also in society at large. Water Talkies session will also host dance options, songs, live performances as well, which we have had in the past. My name is Mansee Bal Bhargava, and I am the moderator and the host for today's Water Talkies session from W4W. Today we have filmmakers Marylene, Negro, and Celia, Lebarbey as our guest speakers to discuss the documentary Water Talkies series on a water trilogy in Rajasthan. And we are going to look at Jaipur, Udaipur, and Jaisalmer. So thank you so much, Marlene and Celia, to really accept our invitation and also taking out time. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation. And I must also thank Shreya Khandekar from Lebarbey who actually connected me to both of you. Before I invite you for the presentation, a quick introduction as a protocol of the session. I start with Marylene. Marylene Negro is a French artist and a filmmaker. She lives in Paris and her work is part of plastic research started in 1990s, and with more than 50 films from 35s to 101 mm. She has presented in France and abroad in galleries, art centers, museum, festival, cinema, including Center Pompidou, Gallery Jennifer Flay and Maritime. Abokaya. These are difficult names for me to pronounce. I hope I am doing justice. Museum of Fine Arts, New Museum, Tate Modern Museum in London. Then Cinema de Cinestes, Festival Court, Anthology Film Archives, and I think some of the names which I have difficulty pronouncing, I'm sure Marlene will do justice to them. Marlene also taught at National School of Decorative Arts in Paris at Paris La Villette. She intervenes in various art schools in the form of workshops or juries. She's also a corrector of the written tests for La Fameuse entrance examination. Now, Celia Lebarbey is a French architect who develops an independent activity at the crossroads of architectural small-scale projects and follow-up of urban renovations and artistic productions. She collaborated in the Indo-French cooperation between ENSPLA Paris and BVCOA Navi Mumbai for 10 years and has taught the urban project resulting from fieldwork, particularly during workshops in India. She develops a pedagogical approach to the landscape, the existing city, and its architecture through methodologies and using photo and video in parallel with personal practice. Her interest in evolution of Indian territories led to master's degree in social science with a thesis on the practices and mutations of landscape of the Ganges in Benares. Her work continues today on rivers and coastal territories using various mediums, always based on field practice. With the artist and filmmaker Marylene, she supervises several video workshops in India, which produces collective films on Banaras, Navi Mumbai, Hampi, and a trilogy which we are going to discuss today from Rajasthan, Jaipur, Udaipur, and Jaisalmer. Thank you so much, and I welcome both of you to really have the opening remarks and also make your presentation about what is this film, what was the idea, and how did you take it further. Thank you.
Thank you, Mansee, for this introduction. Thank you for the invitation also to present this work. I hope you can hearing us properly. Is it the case?
Yes, I hear you properly. Yeah, thank you.
So to be able to present the work, I share the screen with a presentation to give an idea about the images and films that we have done.
Mm-hmm.
Let me check. So we propose to present the work that we have done these 3 last years about water traditional system in Rajasthan. And during workshops, it has produced 3 short films about 3 cities, Jaipur, Udaipur and Jaisalmer. These 3 documentary short films have been made during 3 workshops with Indian architecture students with BBC Ray, Navi Munbel, and from our Johan School of Architecture in Jaipur. We have been invited by Ritu Deshmukh, who has initiated this project of documenting traditional water systems for video and comics. So our colleague, the Watertalks, lead the comics workshops, and we take care of the video workshops. Alors, as part of our educational role in these workshops, we led the students who had never done a film previously to produce images based on the presence of water in Rajasthan. And each of the 3 chosen sites, Jaipur, Udaipur, Jaisalmer, manifested a specific situation linked to water, which required different cinematographic approaches specific to each place. Each of the sites visited was like a case study on the specific ways of managing water resources, which combined climatic data, traditional lifestyle, modern techniques, urban planning, and public policy. Water thus revealed itself as the element that irrigates all these aspects of Rajasthan, from landscapes, architectures, ecosystem, to social organizations. We therefore started from the aesthetic and formal dimension of the images to raise questions related to the presence of water, to its management.
So I have the presentation there. So in case I don't mind, I can share it. Okay. Is it fine with you if I share it?
Celia is maybe trying to find the solution, so we can.
Okay, no problem. Please go ahead.
I'm not sure. Huh? No, in fact, I'm not sure. So, do you have received the document that we have sent to you?
Yeah. The document is right there if you can see it. So I can play it for you.
So we can do that.
Yeah. So do you see the document?
Okay, so we begin with slide 1.
Okay.
So yeah, so it was to introduce the topic on Rajasthan water stories. It's the name for the trilogy, but each films about Jaipur, Udaipur, and Jaisalmer have their own titles. So after this short presentation, introduction that Marylene have done, can we go further? Directly to waiting further this one? Yeah, so it's a trilogy. Yeah, in fact, it's important to see in this slide that each project has been done constraints to students to film. So these 3 short films has been produced collectively, that each student, architecture student, has been filmed. And so we have given them consent. Each project is shooted, recorded, and edited during a 10 days long workshop. And the proposed approach is developed according to the architectural and landscape heritage of water and on the question of water collection. Maybe you can go to the next one. And so for the constraint, each student uses his smartphone to film details of the architecture and the landscape in Jaipur and Amberfort. And the instruction for everyone is never to make water appear in the image. A singular look focus on the main issue, where is the water? So we can go on.
No, il faut.
Okay.
So yes, so we share some film stills from this first films. The title is Waiting. It's a 14 minutes long film made in 2023 with 14 architecture students from Navi Mumbai and Jaipur. So this film unfolds different levels of gaze on the landscape, architectural forms, and ancient uses of water in the context of Amberfort, Jaipur, and other places in the hills upper of the city. So the seasonal and increasingly reduced presence of this essential resource has shaped the landscape with a unique architectures ensuring the management of monsoon rains and water supply. So coons,
we can go to the next slide, please.
Like this one, for example. And this is Nahagar Fort, and we have also shooted Jagad Fort, Amber Fort, and a lot of coons, stepwells, wells have traditional structures that organize access to water and the whole set of associated social practices. But today, most of these buildings are completely abandoned or even in ruins, except for the most impressive ones, which have been transformed into monuments worth visiting. So we can go to the next one.
And the next one.
Wow.
Okay. And now the next one. The film follows the wave of water for different landscape designs to guide, collect, conserve, and transport rainwater. We ask the student to use only their smartphone in landscape format, to film in fixed shots without a tripod sequences of at least 1 minute in order to be able to edit. The specific requests for this film were not to film a second drop of water, to seek out unique points of view, and to propose framing details which, from architecture to landscape, allowed the students curious explorations and strong visual proposals. Then the editing certainly does not follow the filming, which took place over 2 days, nor the geographical organization, but reconstructs a logic specific to the film, which leads us from the most open spaces, those which collect water, to the narrowest, those which conduct east. So starting from the sky and the fortified hills around Jaipur, the images pass at their own pace from the architecture to the pipe announcing the contemporary urban network. So we
Yes, we can continue. Like we can appreciate the details framing, for example, that we request from the students. On the previously it was a Kund. This is a stepwell. If we can go to the next one also. This is a beautiful detail inside the building of the stepwell, for example, with those pots, and also to give a human, also dreamlike or maybe legendary dimension to the water in the film, because we are not able to see any drop of water in this film.
That is interesting.
It's a totally dry film, if I can say, but
Dry film of water. So,
yes, it was a single proposal that the soundtrack of Waiting is composed of ambient recordings as well as instrumental apparition. Not during the entire film, but sometimes you have instrumental music with their own rhythm. So the playing of the it's a jaw harp. It's like morshang, I think in Hindi maybe, and also the clay pot music. So it evoked the presence of water and tends also toward abstraction. So this proposal for the sound was a collective choice after different proposals from the sound team. The number of students and the specific problems, if we can say, of images and sounds led us to divide the group into two different teams, one for editing images and one for sound editing. So this was the first for us to do like that compared with our previous organizations. But the success of the experience led us to make this organization the rule for the trilogy. Have a sound team and editing team. So we can continue with the next picture.
Wow.
No, c'est le tuyau. So this is also another stepwell, in fact, also abandoned in a neighborhood. And you can continue with the next one. For example, we can also see clay pots used in the well. And it's a moment when we can also hear a clay pot music, for example, in this sequence. And you can see slowly we go to the next image, please, that it's like inside a pipe. But
and so
there is also another element in this film.
And finally, the central element that provides meaning is the English translation of an eponymous poem that Tagore wrote and which is titled Waiting. This poem is about the feeling of anticipation and longing that comes with water for someone or something. And scrolling over the images of these empty architectures, the poet's words seem like a murmur escaping from these tones with a seasonal function.
So for sure, we invite you to discover the entire short film on Vimeo. We will share links. It's a 14 minutes film, so it's easy to watch. And now we propose to continue with the second film made in 2024. in February in Udaipur. It has been made during a workshop of 10 days, similar, with 9 architecture students from the same schools, Navi Mumbai and Jaipur. And they decided to title the movie Never Ending. So we can go to the first images directly with the city palace of Udaipur and the lake. Because this second short film about traditional water management structures in Rajasthan serves as a counterpoint to the previous film Waiting made in Jaipur. Because as we have seen in Waiting, the weight of water is evident in every shot, notably through the absence of water.
Water.
So in contrast, water is omnipresent in Udaipur. It's a city famous for its landscape of artificial lakes around which the city is built. So from the lakes that border the palaces to the dams and reservoirs that organize the territory, Never Ending explores the intersection of water and architecture during a 2-part film. It's all that.
So we can go on with 3 slides. Next one. Although Udaipur is called the oasis of Rajasthan, and today its magnificent Pichola lake is full of water, this has not always been the case. In recent decades, the growing challenges of water supply and management have sometimes left this lake dry. The stakes that such a landscape represents for the city and its interest, particularly tourism, has led to the need to keep the central lakes afloat, starting with the Pichola Lake. If a postcard is undeniable and now preserved, it is thanks to a complex hydraulic system based network of artificial lakes. And it is the fragility of this landscape which today seems immanent to the young generations that we wanted to question in this film.
So we can go to the next slide.
Sorry.
This one. So yes, we
This
can.
one, yes.
With the students. So this is the first part of the film on the Pichola Lake, and it has been made during the second phase of the workshop with the students of architecture, and to shoot images and to record also the sound. So. In fact, we can go to the next slide, please.
Yes, I see the students.
Yes, so there are the students filming, because in Udaipur the postcard dimension is too strong to not follow it, especially from the water itself. So to achieve this, we invited the students to take a cruise to film the city and its palaces from the water in order to make the first part of the film. So lasting about 20 minutes, this boat trip allowed only a single take of filming. Students had to take place in the available space, remain silent, and be careful to not interfere with each other or to frame the same things. So the second part of the film has been shooted in 3 artificial lakes upstream of the Pichola. So we can go to next slide. Yes. like this place where activities along water are totally different, belonging to the more to the countryside, if we can say. So we can continue on next images.
Sorry.
And in this particular landscape, where we have more rural activities, in fact, tourist development can also be observed. And because of visitors, because of some property construction happen even in this peripheral area. So we wanted to show those very important places for the entire water system, even if tourists can see only the most beautiful part, but also enlight that this dynamic certainly constitute a major challenge for access to water and its quality. So you can continue with the next picture. It's
so to do this, we first led a drawing.
It's and in this film, it's we have not only images shooted in these places, but also we finish with drawings. So we can go to next slide. So next it's in another place with a dam and people living here. Next slide also. With, in fact, the question of water access, very important. And because we can see water in all images of this film, we finish with drawing, with particular drawing. So you can go to the next slide.
Wow.
Yeah. And during I will speak, you can go during 2 other slides slowly. So to do this, we first led a drawing workshop with high school students from the Rockwood High School and from the Mewart Public School for 5 days in Udaipur. In this first part of the program, the aim has been to bring out the history of the territory in a fictional interpretation by young people. And so we have asked them to draw in situ the landscape of different lakes with the following request. Imagine what would be there instead of water if the lake will be dry in a fanciful future.
Wow. So they have to imagine then.
Go to the next slide, please. Okay. So in situation, the students had to use their imagination and create a drawing combining elements of the visible landscape and invented elements. It was not an easy exercise for them.
Yes, I can imagine.
Accustomed to being around water daily. But the most striking drawings were formatted and integrated into the last part of the film. These lakeside landscapes brought a dreamlike dimension and maybe a warning to the film. So I'll go to the last,
Yes, this is the last drawing before the water coming back. And so maybe just to add the last point about the sound also in this film, because of high tourism, music is easy to record in Udaipur because you have a lot of traditional musicians. So in this case, the soundtrack of the film was recorded on site by the sound team, by students,
Mm.
who went to meet musicians, shows like a puppet shows also, or karaoke, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And they do different proposals, but the final one is made of songs that we can listen where the picture approaches the buildings in the first part of the film, and it's made of natural sounds for the second part of the film to answer the presence of activities to let the natural ambience of the place. And the last film we can, I suppose, yes, it's this one that we have just finished.
I think you were shooting there. When I spoke to you, you were shooting there, if I'm not wrong. Yes, you were in the workshop.
Yes,
Yeah.
1 month ago.
So the last film is Reviving, that's the title. This title, as the other titles, has been chosen by the students. Our research has been inspired by Anupan Mishra's book, Traditions of Water in the Indian Desert, the drought diet of Rajasthan, which was edited in France is 1999. And this book invites us to understand what traditional water techniques still have to contribute to water management in the third millennium. It enlightens the importance of the traditional hydraulic systems in the Jaisalmer region to face contemporary challenges. So let's go to the next slide. We have used this reference as a guide to observe and understand the present situation 25 years later. And the numerous processes for collecting water show all the ingenuity of adaptation for the diversity of reservoirs, dams, lakes, ponds, and wells. And it is first a detailed observation of a satellite view that has let us recognize the water presence in the territory and defined a fieldwork program for filming after checking. And in fact, there are still countless methods for collecting rainwater in this very arid area, which are deserts, on the terraces of houses, in courtyards, along roads, and even in the fields.
So yeah, this is, we can see on the image Jaisalmer Fort, and you can go to the next one. And
Gadisar Lake.
yeah, absolutely. And it's a view from a terrace of a house, in fact. And next one. Yeah.
You noticed that some event happened in Gadisar Lake, some water was coming out non-stop sometime, and that was kind of a, I must say, a lot of curiosity in the community around. There was a non-stop water coming out from ground in Gadisar some months ago.
Yes, it's, I mean, it's, we discover, I mean, the incredible presence of water in this desert area. In fact, it's, I mean, we have explored more especially transformation and adaptations of the traditional architecture to collect and keep the water. For example, as in this Haveli, inside the fort. And also to explain this history of water in Jaisalmer, an off voice from the interview of a young inhabitants of this specific Haveli offers an understanding of what is not visible again. because a lot of things are now different or unusable.
Yes.
So can you go to the next picture, please? Yeah. So this new film has an essentially human dimension and revolves around the work of water and daily actions of the inhabitants in Jaisalmer Fort and in the Thar desert also. For most of the arid area inhabitants, obtaining and using water is still a daily duty, especially for women, even if water comes from the Indira Gandhi Canal today.
Yes.
You can follow, yes, next pictures.
And the
Next one also.
Yeah. Next
The
picture.
kids are playing a very interesting game, by the way. We all have played that game in the childhood. The kids playing with the stones.
And next picture. Next slide.
Next slide. Yeah. Okay. It's a beautiful picture, huh? With the spout and the wow.
Indeed, in this region, most village communities obtained drinking water by their own means thanks to the traditional storage, following an irrigation system that they set up to meet their own needs. So next slide.
Okay, so women and girls in water.
Yeah, and in this sense, there are pools of all kinds, talab, sagar with berry or not, whose cleanliness and maintenance was scrupulously ensured. Next slide. Next slide. And mainly, they have been replaced by more modern techniques. We have, for example, visited a village close to Jaisalmer city, where the government installed running water during the COVID time. In these cases, ponds are still useful for agricultural purposes and for animals, but some basins are still necessary when the modern network fails or for populations still out of the modern water supply network, as it is the case in some parts of the Thar deserts. Next slide, please.
Wow.
And so it is the particular landscape of water in the desert, resulting from human labor that the students patiently observed and filmed. Thar Desert is the most densely inhabited desert of the world. But in 2 days of shooting that we have done with students, it is a challenge to catch people's activities with or for water.
Okay.
It was not easy.
And why was so? It was too busy for them, or it
I
just
mean,
could not.
I mean, it's in fact, it is not the season in February. It is not the high season of water work or agricultural work, if we can say. So each shot has been careful to observe the meticulous work of daily water management or what it allows in this region as this wheat fields, for example. But it was a challenge to be very attentive and be in the right place in the right time to be able to people doing this work with water or with what water allows in this area. So, is there another pictures? Maybe after this one. I don't remember. This is Badabag. And yes, in fact, this is the entire map of places shooted by students. So it was for this time a large area. And during 2.5 days of filming. It was like a rush to go to these different places and be able to go on the right time to see the interesting activities in this place. So
Next slide.
next, yes.
Wow.
So each of these films, 3 films, is the result of a specific experience relating to a particular water situation. Together, they also form this trilogy that we have striven to compose over the years in an attempt to offer a unique perspective on the subject of architectural and landscape water heritage in Rajasthan. The radical bias of the absence of water in the first film led us towards abundance for the second. For the third opus, it seemed important to us to open the subject of heritage, adapting by confronting an extreme context, the desert. And without judgment, the aim is to highlight the liveness of the adaptations made, with all the questions these raises for the livable and unveilable future, as well as for future architects.
Interesting. Very, very deep. I think it's architecture education of water in large sense. Then film is an output of it.
Yes, true. And also each film carries a formal singularity that makes it unique and brings also complementary elements to the images. So we have a poem in the first film, underlines the seasonality of water and the rhythm that it gives to architecture. In the second film, the drawings recall the fragility of the resource, even if it is everywhere. And in Reviving, the last film, the map restores the territorial dimension of of a landscape where the human work almost makes us forget the threatening aridity.
So we can go to the
last
slide.
Yeah. Wow.
So each film was screened open to the public in one of or more locations in the city where the workshop was held. The complete trilogy was presented this year, 1 month ago, in Jaipur, along with the comic books trilogy produced in parallel by our colleagues, the Lebarbey. We always choose to let the images speak for themselves and the film find the way to the viewer's sensibility. And for us, it's about making visual and audio elements resonate so that they are interpretable and fuel questions rather than telling water what they should see, understand, or think.
Very interesting.
Okay, so beyond the topic, there is therefore an exercise in the gaze for the students participating in these workshop, as well as for the audience watching these films, using video to observe and see differently, using to show differently. And it is in this kind of revelation that our work and pedagogical project, D'un autre œil, tries to situate itself.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we hope that explanation lets you understand our work, and for sure we invite you to watch these films on Vimeo. We'll share links to that. And for sure, if you have some comments or questions, we are very happy to react and answer. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Marylene and Celia, for this detailed discussion. And I was wondering that film, probably you decided upfront, but it was more of an educational program in architecture. And I want to share with you here. And Ritu is also here. Maybe we can invite her also to shed some light here. It has been extremely difficult to embed water education in architecture, and Ritu will agree with me. So, first of all, I wish to congratulate both of you as well as Ritu and BVCOA and all other organizations, especially architecture departments who have really agreed to take this up as a project. And trust me, I also try to do these things, and but I am not exploring this alternate media as a film. And I think it's quite inspiring to see how this can be utilized. And especially, I will say, if you don't mind, I'm taking the liberty to say that this is a participatory film, like we talk about participatory planning or architecture. So that in that sense, it looks like a participatory film. And honestly speaking, when you started presenting, I was quite intrigued with the fact that the sustenance of this triology, first conceptualizing it and then taking it into 3 different years and doing 3 different courses. So hats off to all of you, the entire team, but of course led by both of you. I now invite Ritu to throw some light. How did this chemistry got into place? And I would like to be on board next time. But please welcome Professor Ritu Deshmukh. You have come to our platform on Friday Water Thesis Club, so welcome back. And I would really like you to throw some light on the conversation we are having.
So thank you so much, Mansi, and it was a wonderful presentation, Marilyn and Celia. I would first of all say that this whole idea came about only because all the team was on board and followed or understood my vision. And the
Hmm.
vision, as you put across, was very simple:
Hmm.
to make it possible for the commons or the people to understand about water management
Hmm.
and the importance of water in our lives. So we began with a very simple thought. And
Hmm.
I'm lucky that the entire team, that is Madeline, Celia, and Anushreya of Livades, all supported me in all the 3 years. There have been ups and downs, but we have managed to finish this trilogy very well. And we are very happy with the product and very proud of the kind of engagement that the students and the mentors have done on site. So it is the important thing now for us is to make this available to the common people, to make
Yes.
them understand about the relevance of all these traditional water management system which are defunct currently because
Hmm.
of the way in which we have been inscribed in our minds that tap water is the safest water, and the water which is managed traditionally is not safe. So that is the
Hmm.
kind of conversation that we have been brought up with. So we are
Yeah.
somewhere trying to even change and challenge that conversation. And Jaisalmer was a very good example where Marilyn, Celia, and Anushreya experienced people still traveling for water at various sources, trying to
Hmm.
find ways of storing water and trying to find ways of saving water. So
Hmm.
this, I think, is very, very relevant and important at architecture schools as well as I would also introduce this to our schools or the children because we involved
Absolutely.
children for 2 years in
Yes,
Udaipur and in
absolutely.
Jaisalmer. We involved school children to
Hmm.
participate in our endeavor to understand the water. So I think that's more important for us now that advocacy at the right level and at the right place is relevant.
Absolutely. I think because you have been teaching in architecture for a long, long time in India, and I'm sure you will echo with me that water as a subject of education has not come across yet. And therefore, people like you, and probably a little bit, I am also trying to do water education in different possible ways. And what is stopping us to really get water into the mainstream education, even as a building material to make water, yeah, as a part of education. But when we are looking at this traditional water system as shown in all the triology, there is also a risk that in architecture and planning we are still looking at the structure. And I remember from the first part when building and landscape without water, the first part was all about waiting, you know so so even those structures which are now part of the heritage conservation, and also they are missing the very point of water conservation. I mean, that's the apathy of the profession itself, or the education, I will say, that we are looking at the building structure in our education part and the water is left out. Whereas the whole documentation and the filming is really highlighting the essence of water conservation. So I would like to go back to Marlene or Celia, both of you can take this question. When you interacted for 3 years with architecture professors, with students, with local students, school students who have no clue about architecture, did you really get this sense, or did you really find out whether people were more intrigued or fascinated with the structure itself, or whether the dimension of water was also coming into their mind, or did you have to really make extra effort to bring the dimension of water into students' mind? Do you understand what I'm saying? So structure is one thing, because we're talking about architecture, but what is completely different. So my concern with today's India's architecture conservation in step wells and all is that they focus more on the structure conservation, and there is not much focus on the water conservation. What was your experience in the three cases?
But in fact, it's interesting because it's, if we can say, it's exactly the evolution of the three. I mean, especially between the first film and the last one, because in the first film we can see monumental structures waiting for water.
Yes,
A lot
it
of
was it was really nice. That Nahargarh Kund was like amazing.
it's very beautiful, and it's, I mean, for architects it's easy to think about this structure, even if
Mm,
local people are not considering
mm,
it. So they can think about, okay, we are architects, we can do conservation, we can think about water conservation through these monuments. But
mm.
when we begin with that, and it was a very interesting topic, also speaking about uses, but especially with animals. I mean, with people who use these places for to keep the cattle, or to let them, eat the grass and so on. But for the last film in Jaisalmer, we propose students, especially in Jaisalmer Fort, to film. Alors, yes, the palace, but also very common houses, old houses,
Mm,
but with,
mm,
with a lot of adaptation for the modern life. For
mm.
people to be able to have the daily comfort with water, with bathroom, with toilets, and so on. And for that, people, they need to be inventive to convert
Yes,
old
the old.
houses for the modern use without any
Mm,
architect, because architects are
mm.
not working in this
Yeah,
situation.
they're not in the scene at all.
Exactly, exactly. And people, they do what they can, and it's very difficult because it's not accessible, because of the material, because of the water supplying. It's not during the entire day. They need to have a water tank, a private water tank, to have water maybe 1 or 2 hours during the day, and keep it for the use of the
Mm,
entire a day or of the entire week. So they do adaptation. Sometimes it's very well doing, because for sure you don't need an architect to do a nice
No.
intervention. But sometimes it's less well done, or sometimes we can see that people are not very happy because it's not very useful, and so it was
Not
very
efficient.
not really efficient. So it was very interesting, because for young future architects, it's a question. I mean, it's easy
Mm,
to build a new house with the entire water comfort and water system, with the technology, because it's easy. The technology offer you a lot of possibility. But when you have to think about it in such kind of context, very
mm,
with this specific situation of historical place or complex places,
mm.
it asks new kind of question for these young future professional. And I think there is
I can imagine.
a lot of them begin to understand something. At the beginning, they were totally lost. Like, why they ask
Why are we doing it? Why are we doing it?
to observe that we want to go to the palace. But no, 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 it's not the subject.
No, you're not going to the palace. Yeah, because as architecture profession, even as of now, as we speak today, architects are not taking the responsibility of bringing water, or even not taking the responsibility of sending wastewater out of the building. We do plan where is the toilet, where will be the tap and all, but I think we don't take responsibility to really ensure that the building is going to save water, or the water is precious. And that is where I was asking Ritu, and also sharing when I was discussing with her, that even water as a building material is not taught. So water as a resource is still far from teaching. I mean, we cannot make building without water. But I want to ask some this question about your own experience of shooting these films. First of all, it was spanned over 3 years. How did you really crack a chemistry, and how did you find these people, Shreya, Anuj, Ritu? How did this collaboration take place?
Between us and Ritu and
Few years ago, it began.
for me, a long time ago.
Yeah, it's a long time ago, because we were both working in the School of Architecture, Paris-La Villette.
Mhm.
Celia has done
Okay.
there,
Uh,
Mm.
and then she was also, then she went on and worked uh, with the teachers. Uh, and me, I was also teaching in Paris-La Villette
yeah.
in a specific team for filming. So
Mm.
we met in Benares, in Varanasi, Celia and me, and Ritu. Me, I met Ritu Deshmukh in Varanasi, and we began to work together because we were interested to in the same way, I would say.
Mm.
Uh,
Very nice.
yeah, Ritu Deshmukh and Celia too were very interested in video and in looking architecture and the question about around the architecture with video. And so we began to work like that, and we have done few films before this trilogy.
Very interesting. Because you see, using film as a tool for architectural education is still underutilized. What do you think, Ritu? Because we are dealing with a live subject, and people itself is a live subject, and then these buildings and structures and water is one of the liveliest subject we have to talk about. Film becomes a very important tool as educational, method. Uh, and we are not yet exploiting it as much as we should be. But I just want to still understand from all three of you, for that matter, the kind of opportunities you had using this as a tool in education, because students have other courses and, institutional issues, collaboration, I don't know what kind of contracts and blah, blah. But still, some opportunities, but I know there will be many challenges. We are seeing the rosy picture of the end product. But it would be nice to highlight some of the opportunities this kind of collaboration brings, so that we can take it to more architecture schools, and
Well,
then the challenges.
okay, I would say something important as a filmmaker.
Yes,
Uh,
please.
as a filmmaker, I can say that we don't, Celia and me, we don't teach video as we would teach for students in a school of cinema. It's very
Okay. Hmm.
uh, here we propose them to film, but as we precise, we as precise with a very simple tool. It's with
Hmm.
their
That
phone.
they can use, that they can, it's a user friendly.
It's important. It's a way for them to take a note and
Hmm.
so to think and to see differently and to see and to think architecture differently. It's very important. It's not they are not doing cinema with us.
That's very good to clarify that it's not a
No,
cinema making
no,
exercise.
no. It's really a way to think architecture in
Hmm.
another way, and not to be static, but to develop a way
Absolutely.
of looking at, of thinking, and of asking questions with a tool, a video tool.
And there were sketches, and you mentioned there are songs, then there are, photographs and videos. So there are many methods which are used, and then it is put together.
Yeah, and it's also a way. What do you want to show in this?
Yeah.
What is your intention? And for instance, in our last film, Reviving, it was interesting because one of our students filmed a step well, and but inside this well there was water and there was a plastic bottle, and
Hmm.
made a sequence and we saw the plastic bottle in
Hmm.
and we asked them, would you like that people see or not this plastic bottle in your frame? And he said, no, I don't want to show that.
I can relate what you are saying now.
And we said, in this case, you have to frame in a different way.
Hmm.
He made it again, and then the battle was not present anyway because he didn't want to show the battle. And that's always the question of what do you want to show?
Yeah. So first of all, what do you see, and then what would you like to show?
Yeah, very important detail, for instance.
Yeah. Ritu, would you like to add something? Because I'm really looking at it as a very interesting combination of tools. So I'm just rephrasing from not filmmaking, but also there are sketches. It's a compilation of different methods put together as a documentary.
Yes, so as Celia and Marilyn explained to you that we have been associated for a long time together and we have been exploring this medium, but in a different pedagogical approach because we used to work for this Indo-French workshop, learning from
Hmm.
Indian cities. So
Huh.
there we would plug this in as one of the mediums of visualizing a place and the
Hmm.
people
Hmm.
using that space. But then later we kind of branched out and we thought that let's take this as a separate story and separate way of dealing with the students and making them aware of this medium as well. So the first exercise independently was done in Navi Mumbai and then in Hampi next year,
Hmm.
which they have not mentioned that they have got the
Yeah.
first prize for that film in Austria.
Hmm.
So
Nice.
that was
Congratulations.
something which
Huh.
was very encouraging for us that yes, this medium can work for architecture schools.
Hmm.
And then we also tried to put this across at the Council of Architecture Social Talks Forum,
Hmm.
so that more and more schools of architecture take
Yes.
advantage and take not a piece of information from this, and maybe this could become an inspiration for them to follow. But you know, the way in India, how the education system is, it's more by the book.
Mhm.
And
That is where I was
everywhere,
intrigued also. How did you crack it to run in your school?
so we did this out of the box, therefore we could
Uh,
crack it. And
mm,
there is like, otherwise the students, the faculty, all are worried about marks, about passing, about the mundane things in life which do not make architecture, according to me.
mm.
Architecture profession currently needs to be more rooted to the ground, to be more rooted to the
Absolutely.
social area, rather than sitting in a studio and doing architecture. That's, I think, a
I
very,
think, yeah,
very
so well said.
outdated kind of
Yeah, I think we are
system.
missing the soul out of the structure when the way we
Correct.
are right now doing. And this kind of approach can really bring back the very soul of doing architecture, you know. So when we go and look at a step well and we only look at the magnanimous structure and we cannot mourn of not having water, there is a serious problem. You know, if we
Yes.
just appreciate the structure and not really get concerned about not having water there, I think we have a misunderstanding of architecture there. Because what I read somewhere about, especially about stepwells, I can share with here, and I'm sure you are very much aware of it. I am not even expert of stepwell, but the function of stepwell was more important, and actually the form and the aesthetic is a secondary thing. Most important thing is that it should hold water, and then how to beautify it, how to ornament, how to bring spirituality, how to bring all kind of life essence into it. I still remember you were showing those spots on the arch. So that's a very moving thing, you know. I mean, how people are realizing that that the importance of these earthen pots, and its relation with that people have to fetch water from there and all. So I just want to move on to another question, and maybe it's a good time also because we also have to start wrapping up. I can ask if Bhavita or if there are people and on YouTube, I can see some people out there. If you can pose your questions right now to our guest speakers, it will be nice. Otherwise, I can continue posing. And now, if you like, we can also play the film and close it after that. Or if you would say that if you have other appointments, we can also share the link with people and they can watch it on their own ease, and then maybe reflect upon and come back to you.
Yes.
What do you suggest? And I have some very small questions to take home here. Your experience, you have been working in India for quite some time now. Um, the very experience of interacting with architecture students probably over the years, architecture schools over the years, and then also the very experience of interacting with people. You also showed it from Jaisalmer example, how transformations are happening and how people are adapting. We use the word jugaad here
Yes.
in India. So how the jugaad architecture is very different than the mainstream architectural education that happens. So I'm just curious to understand from you your experience over the years, and you also know India is severely suffering from water crisis. How do you see architecture education improving towards understanding water? And how do you see local people improving their understanding about water? So both your, I will say, collaborators in this journey, you know, students and the local people. Do you see any change over time? Because you're not meeting the same people, so it's difficult for you to judge. But in
Hmm.
7, 8 years, you may see.
I think there is a tendency, in fact. I mean, uh, for students, they are maybe more and more confident
Mhm.
to explore new mediums, a new way to speak, to discover things.
Mhm.
Me, the feeling that I have, because I work with Indian students from
Mhm.
10 years now, they are
Mhm.
more confident, in fact,
Mhm.
more open. It's very nice to work with them because they are curious. They are at the beginning, every time they are a bit worried because we propose
Why are we doing this? Yeah.
something unusual. They are like, "Oh my goodness, what is this? Why they ask us to do that?" But in 2 days, they change. They because the work is engaging,
Intense.
Yes.
intense. They go
Yeah.
on and they improve themselves a lot, and it's
I can imagine.
interesting.
I want to share with you that recently I attended a workshop in Hyderabad from Les Atelier from the French Embassy as a scholar, and we were working on water and metropolitanization of Hyderabad. And it was exactly same experience as you explained. We were already appointed for 15 days to work on water of Hyderabad. I hope they come up with a film. Uh, and it is from Clergy, from France. So first 2 days, every and all 15 people were not known to each other. So at least in your case, they were from one school. So we were not knowing each other, and we were looking at each other's face and our instructors with lot of eyebrows up. What are we doing here? And all of them were like, with 15, 20, 30 years of experience like me. But after 2 days, it became so immersive
Mm,
that people don't want to even sleep. We were working till midnight, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and 15 days, it just went like that,
mm.
you know. But that's one thing. But when you were interacting with local people, did they show concern about water crisis, about water conservation? Did they share some things from with you people?
Especially in Jaisalmer, we had this experience
Mm,
because we had several relationships with local people. I mean, we spoke about this man, that inhabitant of Jaisalmer Fort that we have met,
mm,
and who is the off voice of the film, who explained
mm,
how from the traditional and past from now, and the evolution and technical evolution of involving him for water. But we had also a precious person that we had met during this last workshop. He was our driver. Our driver
okay.
who has led us through the desert, and without him, this thing wouldn't exist. Because Celia
Mm,
and me, we have done the repérage, the places that we wanted to visit, but this person, this inhabitant, he proposed us to discover places that we couldn't find by ourselves. And that was precious. He invited us in his family. We could explain. He explained us. He explained
mm,
also that the government, since COVID, installed water in certain villages. So it
mm,
was for us very interesting and very human. And also
I can imagine.
the farmer, you have seen in a very green field in the last
Yes, they were farming. That was chickpeas, huh? Chickpeas and grams.
year met the farmer, and he also explained how he could develop, he could obtain this green field.
Yes, but maybe about the evolution for especially agricultural aspect, but also for in houses. Uh, We notice also how people want more comfort. I mean, for the daily life and also for agricultural, even the farmer, he wanted to go to irrigation system. In fact, the
Mm,
farming that we have filmed in the film, it's a traditional way without any irrigation system. It's a
mm,
gradual system. But he wanted to, maybe in few years, be able to go to irrigation with the technology to be able
yes,
to
micro irrigation.
do a Jira production to be
Mm,
able to sell it and earn money. It's not
Yes, I can imagine.
people they want to improve their situation, especially about water
Mm.
for the daily life also, because when you see this women and girls still going every day to the water tap to bring water to the house, it's a,
Mm.
it's a huge work. And
I think,
then
yes, it is. It's
they,
one of the world's biggest concern that
yes,
women are
they,
spending 4 to 5
do
hours.
they don't do anything else. They don't go to school or they don't do something else for themselves.
Even girl children, it's a huge problem.
Yeah, so it's I mean, in a way, it's normal that people want to improve their situation, especially about water. And in another way, that means it asks a lot of questions to traditional system, not
Mm.
only the traditional architectural structure, but also
Yes.
system in a large
System.
sense,
Yes, absolutely.
also the social system.
Mm.
So um, yes, during these different works, I mean, for now, it's a time of quick changes for India
Mm.
and especially some regions about
Mm.
these issues. Even not only in countryside, also in urban situation, a lot of things are changing very quickly, and people they are changing their way of life very
Yes.
quickly also. And it's I think it's a big challenge to be able to for sure to change, but not to let behind everything. It's important
Yeah, of course.
to keep what is interesting, useful, low tech, uh, sustainable, what is sustainable to continue in the future.
And also,
Very interesting. Yes. Please go ahead.
it's big question, I think, because as you said, Celia, it's the question of daily life, water daily life, but it's also the question of the existence and the preservation of traditional architecture for water. And sometimes we have seen places which are totally in ruins.
Mm.
In Udaipur, for instance, the school, the pupils were proposed, students were proposed to clean during 1 hour a day the step well, to be conscious that this place shouldn't go to ruins, to ruin.
Mm.
So that's what what will become this architecture, uh,
Mm.
traditional architecture. What could be architecture in the future? Because maybe some stepwells won't be useful anymore.
Yeah, and they still are not that directly used, but you remind me of something that this week, actually starting from tomorrow, I also have two historical water ghats edge in Kolkata. We are cleaning it up with children and students, by the way. So, I mean, cleaning it one day to really make them realize is completely different than having a pedagogical embeddedness in education. I mean, you bring students one day, you talk about them, which I'm going to do in this week, by the way. For next 7 days, we are into that business in Kolkata. And I often question myself why I still take those offers to do this, because from nothing, at least there is something. But I feel that this is a beginning of really educating about water, waterfronts. So that's what we are doing. But let me just bring out my, I mean, almost coming to a closure and towards the last question. And I want to ask you, now these films are made. I'm sure you have some audience in mind, and your collaborators also have some audience in mind. So this is more, more outside the film, but more, I will say, logistic question. How really you plan, and what has been your plan in previous films also? How do you take it to your audience? What is your way of taking it to larger audience? Because this is one of the platforms where we are trying to bring all our filmmakers and even authors in different sessions. so that it reaches the larger audience. It's a little small effort which we are trying to do, but you must be also having your plan to bring your films to the larger audience for the good cause also.
In fact, the different presentations that we have done in India, because each time we have done presentations of the film just after its making. So in Jaipur, in Udaipur, in Jaisalmer, and also three together this time in Jaipur. And for sure, most of the audience are from schools. I mean,
Yes.
students in the different kind of university, architecture, design, art and design, but also pupils in high school or school, or also with partnership with Alliance Française. They have some young children following some courses with them. So we had a specific moment of presentations and discussion with them. And it was very, really interesting. I mean, it's even if sometimes there is a question of language, because we speak only in English, and it's not easy to discuss or for them to understand, for example, the poem in the film. But they are very receptive of the images. It was incredible. They understand
moving images.
Yes, and they understand
The
very,
moving images. Yes.
they are very attentive, and they understand, I mean, the purpose, the intention. And they were, each time they were very curious of the unusual aspect of something maybe familiar for them.
They
And
must be seeing, but they are not seeing. They were not seeing earlier.
absolutely, absolutely. And they speak about that after. Oh, but you're right. Maybe sometimes we are too close to something and we are not able to see it again.
Taking it for granted.
Yes, it's. I mean, it was with a discussion with children without any architectural program. So this is an interesting fact, because for a pedagogical aspect of this project, it's also a way to be able to touch common people, and it's a validation, if I can say, of the video power to do such kind of things. And but that's true. Most of the audience is in. I mean, for us, I think it's in the pedagogical aspect. Even in France, for now, we are trying to show films also in schools, in School of Architecture, of course, and in some events, but around education and pedagogical aspect. Yes.
Okay, interesting. So I think we are coming towards the closure of the session. We have already exceeded the time. But for me, most important take-home message was what you see, how you see, and importantly, then how you show. So, of course, the water was very important part of the whole conversation. But interestingly, whenever I see dry water bodies, step wells, lakes, and all, and especially when I'm with my architecture friends and I see them talking about the magnanimity of the structure, I am somewhere deeply mourning about not the water being there, and importantly, the water not being discussed. For me, that is a bigger concern than water not being there. That water is not talked is for me a bigger concern than water not there. So it is really overwhelming for me today, as well as inspiring for me to really have this conversation with you, and also take this conversation further to more architecture schools, more people for that matter. Why to limit it to architecture alone? And thank you so much, Marlene and Celia, for this conversation and also for the wonderful presentation. And especially a special thanks to Ritu to come over and also share some insights from this whole collaboration. As we talked today, the trilogy about water, and we looked through waiting, never ending, reviving from Jaipur to Udaipur to Jaisalmer. It was a very interesting journey for all of us, to be honest, and I hope you enjoyed this conversation as I did. And before I close, it is also my duty and protocol for always that I announce for the next what we are doing. Next 2 weeks, interestingly, we are not doing online, we are going on site. And as I just mentioned, this complete next week, I am actually in Kolkata talking about Ganga, talking about ghats, talking to people, talking to students, talking to officials, and literally seeing what is the heritage of water in Kolkata. The week after, we are also going on site in Bengaluru, and we are with the Drop Talk Well Labs uh, workshop on April 16th. So do stay tuned, and we are going to come back with our online sessions, which are our main programs, by the way, from the week after, which is the week of 21st. So 23rd, we have a session, and I'm going to share those information very soon. So 2 weeks we are on site and not online, and stay tuned with our website www.w4w.in. And till we see you online, thank you so much, all of you. Please take care of yourself. And thanks once again, Marlene and Celia. Please take care and hope to see you somewhere sometime soon. And also hope to do water workshop with you, where film becomes just kind of an end product, not water cinema, but water education.
Thank you very much, Nancy.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for the
Thank
conversation,
you. Thank you.
invitation.
Thank you. Bye bye. Take care. Bye.
Bye. Take care too and enjoy.
Yeah, bye bye.